All right.
All right,
Dave?
ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday afternoon, and we're here. We're live. It's a special day today.
That it is.
You know, you got myself, Dixie Dave. You got my co-host, Crusher Crossan.
Sorry, Dave, I had to take care of, there was a video playing, it was causing some feedback. I took care of that. But yeah, we are live on a very special time too, Dave. This is not our normal live time. This is, early for us, but that's for a special reason. Am I right?
That is very correct. We have a very special guest with us today. You know, we're going international again, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Crusher and I started this show around 2 years ago now. And, you know, we realized we're just a little bitty company, but our little National Wrestling Federation is going international now.
Twice, 2 times.
You know, if we keep this up, Crusher, you might have to change that N in the NWF to an I.
Or World Wrestling Federation. Nah, we can't do that. We'd be the WWF. Nah.
We can't get sued by the pandas.
Speaking of accomplishments, I just wanted to remind everybody, we weren't on last week, but whoops, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted to show the only thing is I don't know if I have the graphic, but
I know what you're getting at.
Well, I'll just show the ticket. That's good enough.
Yep.
38 years ago today, our first.
38 years ago. Almost a week ago now, Crusher.
Yeah, at the Anoka Armory. We're kind of celebrating the very first live event we ever did that we promoted ourselves, and it was crazy to think of that we did that 38 years ago. And everybody says, "How come you guys got the wrong prices on those tickets?" No, that was just me at 14 years old saying, "Hey, kids are our biggest fans here. We're going to charge more for them. There's going to be more of them coming." So, that's why that is.
You know something I'm realizing looking at that ticket, Crusher?
What's that?
It's now been 38 years that you've been saddled with me.
Well, you were there. You actually bought one of those tickets.
I think I did.
At least I hope you did.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember if I got it, if I bought the ticket or if I was comped a ticket by one of the performers.
Well, and then he paid for you because I made sure all those kids paid me back when I gave them the tickets to sell. But yeah, we're just, 300 and some fans piled into the Anoka Armory. It was the very first time, and that event was huge because it caught the attention of Eddie Sharkey, legendary trainer and promoter, who's then realized what we were doing and wanted to get in with, And it's so funny, we did that event, and then his reaction was, and he's as old school as it gets, we got to do an event together, you and I, But looking back, Dave, Eddie's seen Eddie was doing what, 50 people at some of these bar cards he was doing, and we come along with 300. Of course, he wants to tag in with us.
Get in on our gate.
Yeah, but that's fine because you know what, we wanted to be with the recognition from that guy. That was huge. Big influence on me.
Kind of like our guest that we have today.
Right, and speaking of which, we've got guests, and we're going to bring them in right now. Are you ready for this, Dave? But before I bring them in, I have a special promo video I'm going to play that's going to feature who we're talking about here. We're talking about Wrestling Revolution Keaton from Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland Professional Wrestling is the name of the organization that he's training with. And we're going to talk to not only him, but his trainer and coach, Nathan Hoy, as well. So let me roll this video, Dave, and then we'll be on screen with both of them. Right?
All righty.
All right, here we go. Right, guys.
All right.
All right, Dave. All right, Crusher.
Keaton, welcome in. It looks like Nathan might have disconnected from us. We'll have to wait for him to connect back in, but as long as he uses that same link, he'll be able to pop right back in.
Yeah, good.
So welcome in, Keaton.
I know, very excited to be here.
Yep.
We're so glad to have you in here.
I know, Sam.
I tell you something, you caught our attention, just like Subforce
It's
Arnie
kind
a
of a
couple weeks
proud
ago.
moment.
What's that, Dave?
Well, I was saying it's a proud moment for us seeing the young generation carrying on the torch that we lit, I guess you'd
right.
say.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And by the way, we got a few comments here. I'm just going to kind of introduce him here quick. We got Terry Kosnappel. He's one of our NWF alumni. He's here watching. So he was just put in our Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So, yeah, so he's out there. We got the one. What do we got here? The
woman wrestler, Jesse Jackhammer.
One wrestled with Jesse Jackhammer. Yeah, saying hi to us and as well as Keaton.
Yeah, I know him. What did he say?
Oh, he just said hi, and he also said hi to you as well. Hi to Keaton. So, yeah, so we're just gonna we'll start talking with you, Keaton, while we wait for your coach Nathan to connect in again. We were just talking to all of these guys here, and so he just glitched out. We just got to wait for him to connect in again.
Yeah, it's okay.
But well, let's start with this, Keaton. You said that you said that you were that we here at the NWF we inspire you. Explain that.
Yeah, you did. So after when I started getting into wrestling, my ambition was always to be a professional wrestler from the very first time I saw it when I started seeing likes of John Cena. But then I thought, as me being a kid, until I was an adult, I couldn't do it. But until when I saw NWF and stuff, I thought maybe I could be a kid wrestler. And then Nathan had on that there's going to be kids wrestling and said join it.
It's cool. So I'm glad that you came across their stuff though to give you the spark and to give you the idea to do it. You guys are so lucky today. Like you and Arnie over there in the UK, because you have academies that you can go to and train and learn it. Yeah. Dave,
we didn't have that,
right? Yeah, and I do too. We didn't have that, man. That's huge.
My training was, there's a ring, you're up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They didn't smarten me up before my match. I didn't even get a lick of training before my match. It was just cameras are rolling, get in the ring.
Yeah, and that was by design, because if we didn't know who you were at first, we didn't. I don't know if we talked about it, Keith, when I talked to you the other day on our test connection, but we were part of that kayfabe era where we're trying to make everybody believe what we're doing is real. So the other kids come on the show that we go to school with that I don't necessarily know. We're like, I don't know who this is. Is he going to stick around, or is he just going to come in here and realize this ain't for him and then leave? And then all of a sudden he tells everybody what we're doing. Yeah. So we had to kind of keep a low key at first, and Dave was part of that a little bit. But,
until he got to know them,
until we start to trust him a little bit.
Even one of our alumni, Pretty Boy Taylor, admitted he saw me and he thought I'd be a one and done.
Yeah, because we had a lot of kids like that, Keith. And I don't know if there's like that at the training center you're at, but we had a lot of kids that would come in and realize this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And they try it and then they'd be done.
Oh,
that'll be a question I have for.
Here, Nathan just sent us an email there. I'm on tablet. Ask Keaton to get them to send it.
So give them the email address.
The email is
his here, Keaton. I will send you an email that you can forward to him.
All right.
Go ahead, Dave, and ask some questions here while I take care of this.
All right. So, just so our guests watching know, how old are you right now?
So I'm 12 right now, and I started wrestling 2 years ago.
Okay. I
was 10.
So, and running across the kids' pro wrestling kind of inspired you to give it a try?
Yeah, it did. There wasn't really there's Olympic wrestling clubs, which I'm not the most into, but when NXT wrestling came along, it was a perfect thing because I already support NXT wrestling, so when the kids wrestling was on. I thought I had to go there. Obviously, I've been a lifelong wrestling fan. So yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean that's part of why I joined. I've been a long-time wrestling fan, and when I saw the NWF not too far from my house, I was like, I got to give this a try.
Yeah.
And I got a question that I forgot to ask Subforce. How much does it cost to train?
How much does it cost to train?
Yeah.
So it costs $7.50 each week.
And that's in the pounds then or whatever, right?
Yeah, in pounds.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is in dollars. It's got to be close to dollars, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, so that's pretty reasonable, really. But that's I'm sure that's because you're younger, you're kids, and it's part to help you guys as well. So
yeah,
which is good.
It is really reasonable because there's not really any really American style wrestling clubs anywhere, so it's really reasonable only for like $7.50.
Yep. And Keaton, by the way, I sent you an email that you can send to Nathan that has the proper link.
Okay, I'll do
to
that.
your email.
Okay, I'll do that.
But yeah, so let's see. Terry's watching, and he says it's awesome to have you with us here, Keaton. So let me just say this, and this goes for all of our alumni. We see it differently when we watch somebody like yourself, Keaton, because we can put ourselves in your shoes. We can see through your eyes because we were there. We did it too, way back when we were kids. So we know exactly what you're thinking and how you feel, more so than let's say adults today, because unless you did this as a kid, you really don't know, right?
Yeah.
And so, like I said, we can relate to you. And I know that Terry I'm saying Terry would echo and Dave would echo and everybody.
Exactly. I mean, when you have something like this in your heart,
yeah,
it doesn't matter how green you are in the ring. If you've got the heart, you can get trained to be proficient in the ring.
Yeah, so even I know because I realized even from when you started them, but from becoming NWF Tag Team Champion, they really improved in the ring. Like,
yeah, Dave, for you when you became national tag champ, you improved quite a bit at that point. Obviously, right?
Well, yeah. That and
but more so, you proved yourself to me.
Lucky breaks.
No. But more so, you really proved yourself to me because I'm ultimately making that decision. At the time, and I would decide who I was booking it. So, but you see, here's the thing, Keaton. Let me tell you a little story here while we wait for Nathan. Back in the day with NWF, we had so many kids come through, and probably over 100, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And of that group of kids, there would be kids that would be athletically pretty good. Like they would come in and they could take to the ring pretty easily, right? Because they were a little bit more physically into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of these kids, and I'm not going to mention names because I don't know what alumni we got out there watching us these days, and I don't want to offend anybody. But there were some kids that were just had the wrong attitude, or their heart wasn't there. It wasn't in their blood, where you could feel it. And even though they were good in the ring, but they just didn't have the right attitude. And then there were guys like I like to point out to Dixie Dave, that came along that maybe weren't athletically sound right away, didn't have the physical side of it right, there at first, but had the heart of a lion, just like the logo on your dojo, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
And so with that, that's fine because I can teach the physical part. Your coach Nathan can teach you the physical part, right?
Yeah.
But we can't teach attitude. We can't teach having the right head on your shoulders and really having that in your blood to want to do this.
I know what you mean.
So I would take the Dixie Daves. I would take these guys over and over again because we can teach the physical part. We can't teach the mental part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
Right.
So so I'm let's go to the watch long screen while we wait for Dave to come in. We can kind of start playing some of your highlights here.
All big shit.
This is
to all the great people like me.
You guys hearing it okay?
So tonight,
what is it?
Can you guys hear this video okay?
No, can't see it.
Oh, you might not be able to see it. It's basically you can see it, right, Dave?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to probably look at the YouTube screen or whatever to see it, but we're basically just showing your highlights.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, one thing I'm going to say to you, Keaton, is athletic ability will get you a long way,
Yeah.
but having the right attitude and the right heart will
Oh,
get
right,
you
Joe.
something like this.
Yeah.
Joe 88 in the house here. Go Keaton. I imagine he's a fan or a friend.
Yeah, he is. Oh, you got Hall of Fame, did you?
No, he just commented. He's watching the stream with us here.
I know. So, Dave, did you get the Hall of Fame? Yeah.
Can you guys hear?
Yep, I can see you, Nathan. Are you there? We can see you.
Yeah, we can see you.
Can you hear us, Nathan?
He might not be able to hear us, but we can hear him.
Yep.
So these are just like some training exercises. It looks like, right?
Yep, that's what it appears to be to me.
Yeah. And is this the kind of thing, Keaton, that you guys do every training session, like before you start doing?
Yeah, we normally do warm ups and then forward rolls and stuff.
Okay. Yep. Well, this is part of it, right? You know.
Yeah.
You definitely need to, practice and everything, and kind of get the formalities down.
Oh yeah, definitely before you get on shows and stuff. I agree.
Yeah, Nathan. If Nathan can hear us, I don't know if he can, but he would want to. If he can't hear us, he's going to want to check his settings to make sure his output device is set right in the settings. There's a little gearbox thing there, and if you go in there, there's an audio settings, and you can change your outputs and stuff to make sure it's using the right device. Because sometimes these things have multiple outputs. Now that person there in there with you, kind of like training you guys in the ring right now. What's his name again?
John McCann.
Yeah, it's John, and how do you pronounce it again?
John McCann.
McCann. John
Yeah.
McCann. I like that guy. I can tell that he's really into this training with you kids. I can see it in his face.
Well, it's actually his birthday today.
Is his birthday today?
Yeah, happy birthday.
Ah, well,
You're
happy
watching.
birthday, John, if he's out there. But no, I can tell by his demeanor
Yeah,
and
if you're
stuff
watching,
that he's
happy birthday
the
from
right
all of us.
he's the right
yeah.
person, to be working with you kids. You can tell he has the right attitude.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, here's one of our regulars, Dave. Gizmo in the house this afternoon. Build up. He says, I can see they start things slow and build up. This is a big difference when you are carrying adults backing you. Yeah. Having that adult, like I said, the adult guidance is the key here, guys. Having people that know the business showing the kids. That's the way to do it today. It's the way to
Right.
go.
See, in our show, we had adults there, but they were out for themselves.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Who's
the
that guy
adults.
slapping the ring in the back there?
Oh, that's Chris Mercer. He actually just returned. At the very start, he was on training us. Then he didn't have the time to train us. So then he kind of stopped and he didn't have the time for wrestling. Then he returned again and he was happy.
Okay, because he's all dressed up and everything. I didn't know if he was the announcer or what was going on.
He was the announcer at that time. Normally he's a wrestler because it was a return. They decided to put him as guest announcer and stuff. But he was happy to see how much we're improved.
Now, where this show's happening right here, this is kind of where the venue is, where the Northern Ireland Professional Wrestling does their shows and stuff, right?
Yeah, normally.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could have Malone, wouldn't you, Nathan?
Okay.
I don't think he can hear us, but yeah, sometimes they would do Malone. We've
Look at
got
this, like a reverse snapmare goes into a reverse chin lock. Very good. Very good stuff here. This is the good fundamental stuff to be learning. Well, very old school over here. Yeah, we're seeing right now.
Exactly. What I like to see is teaching the old school stuff, not.
Well, yeah, because some of the old school
Just
stuff Dave carries on, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Oh, I think he's reconnecting.
Hey, he knows how to get the crowd going himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Very good ring announcer.
I was saying too, guys, if you check out Keaton's YouTube channel, which has been under his name and everything on our other screen, Keaton does an awesome job commentating to all these matches that happen out of this place.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. I actually like that just as much as the wrestling itself. Listening to your play-by-play.
I know the NWF commentary was class as well. Like
What's that?
the NWF commentary was awesome. I know you done a lot of it as well.
Yeah, we did more traditional, like live commentating, right, during the matches. But
Yeah.
obviously you're there watching and enjoying the show, and then you'll
Yeah,
dub in the
exactly.
commentating later, which we did some of that sometimes. There was times where we did our commentating in the editing booth, but that's what it was back in the day. It was all videotape and editing booths, and it was so different back then when you had videotape versus today being digital. And by the way, Keaton, one thing I'm going to say, don't save every bit of footage you've got out of all the stuff that you're doing. Don't ever lose any of it. It's so easy to save it today.
Yeah.
You don't know how much I wish I would have saved some of the tapes we had back in the day, but they were so expensive. You're talking like $20 a tape.
What I would even consider doing is getting an extra hard drive for your computer, just so you can save all your footage.
Yeah, I don't want to lose any. You're gonna want to look back at this someday, just like we do today.
Oh yeah. Do you regret not?
This looks like it's physically enduring here.
Oh yeah.
Wheelbarrows.
Here. Oh, wheelbarrows, yeah.
Yep. Arm drag. Yeah, look at how that ring bounces, Dave. I would love to be in one of those new Flexi Steel rings. I would love to know how taking a bump in that would be compared, because we had the breakdown rings, Keaton. So we had a center spring, the older style. Yeah, that's the old way the rings were done.
Yeah.
I don't know, Coach Nathan, can he hear us, or is he still?
Well, my first match was in a boxing ring that was right in front.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, we had the Golden Gloves boxing ring for a while, and there's no spring in there. It was just a hard mat pad. See, notice how they use crash mat pads here to get them kind of going with this. Get familiar with the suplex.
Exactly.
We did
Keaton,
this.
You want something
Dave.
to laugh at me about?
Yeah. What is it?
My first professional match ever. My debut match on May 10th, 1986, ended with a basic body slam.
That's not bad. Like.
The guy body slammed me, and I landed wrong.
He landed on the small of his back.
How long were you out for? Were you out?
What was that?
How long were you out for?
It was my first day.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he wasn't out. He just knocked the wind out of him.
Yeah.
I've had that as well. It's sore, isn't it?
Yeah, as the referee was doing the count.
This kid here is going to be a showman that just went off the second rope. But yeah, what you need to do.
The referee did his one count, and he's like, "Kick out, kid."
Yeah.
Hit the second count.
Dave said, "I can't." He's trying to catch his breath.
Yep.
Yeah, like we use crash mat pads in Fred Moore. We did a very similar stuff, but I mean, yeah, that's the way to do it. It's how I remember trying to teach people the drop kick using pads like this, so they could get up and do a proper drop kick and then land on the pads, right? Instead of the ring.
Is this the one where I get winded on? Is this the one where we're doing drop kicks from pads?
Well, no, I mean, I remember having kids
right now
a drop kick from using pads like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's showing people doing cross bodies.
Yep, cross body box.
This might have been one for me. Just to go see like nowadays, we've improved so much from the end to now, so much like.
Oh yeah, then you will. The more you keep doing this, the more you're gonna, it's all professional wrestling, especially in the training side. It's all repetition, and as you do it more and more and get more comfortable, you're just gonna get better and better and better. You know, that's just the way it works. Now, yeah. So this is a match then, and Keaton explained to us who we're seeing here.
So this is a match for the number one contendership. The Canary Kid versus John McCann. They're not juniors. They're between 15 and 17, and it's two like pretty much junior wrestlers fighting for the number one contender championship.
Right, but the Canary Kid, correct me if I'm wrong, he started when he was like 14, right?
Yeah, he started when he was 14. Both of them started
So
quite young.
he's still fairly young.
Yeah.
He's a teenager, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, teenager.
But
a bit older.
you know who he reminds me a lot of? I'm going to tell you this. This Canary Kid. Who does he remind you of, Dave?
Well, let me watch him a minute here. Body-wise, I know who he reminds me of.
Well, I'm going to say a young Sean Waltman, the Lightning Kid.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
In the PWA days.
You're going with more of the celebrity style.
Okay, who are you going to say? I'm curious.
I was saying with the body build, the way he is, the Canary Kid kind of reminds me of a young Sean Crossan.
Oh, Crusher Crossan? Yeah, a little bit,
Yep.
maybe. You know, he's a high flyer like I was. But I don't know if I could do some of the stuff he does. If you watch him in this match, he's pretty good. Of course, it's the new style, right? It's the new era of wrestling.
Yep.
So.
Some of the splashes and all top rope are quite good, but
what's that?
some of the splashes and all you done from top rope are quite good as well.
Yeah, you know, I was just gonna say, you know, when it comes to wrestling, you know, as a wrestler, everybody's different. Not everybody's gonna be a high flyer, Keaton. Like, you got to find what you need to do in your training stuff as you get through all of it. You need to find your style of a wrestler, you know, and it may not be a top rope guy, right? Like, look at Dave and I. Dave and I are two different kind of wrestlers. You know, I made my way on the top rope quite a bit, but Dave never did. Dave's style was different.
I don't
You just
think
need to, yeah. I mean,
you need to find the style that you're comfortable with,
and then be the best at it.
Yeah, I guess. That's a great idea.
We got comments here. I'm not kind of paying attention. Let me bring some of these in while we're watching. Sky Sports Video News in the house. Thanks for joining us, Sky Sports. I know this is earlier than usual. Another Hall of Famer in the house. Hello and congratulations to Terry. Terry, this would have been a good match for you in the day. Second about Terry Costner. Yeah, Terry would have fit right in with these guys. There's a lot of us would have back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got Gizmo commenting again. He says, this is a big change from when Crusher started. He started with a mattress in the basement and moved up to a real ring in an arena. That's the... Yeah, if you ever watched The Untold Story, you'd know the whole story. But yeah, that's...
I know, I've seen it from High Change. I've seen the documentaries and stuff. You started from in your basement. I think it's like your mom's basement till having a big ring and all, people coming in. Also, it changed a lot, didn't it?
And then I'm not sure what language this is, but Super Chad, I don't know. That's what that means, but I'm sure it means super good. That's what I'm going to say. So yeah, this is good stuff. I like this small venue, like this kind of it gives me this local house atmosphere kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, I bet the fans are like real fans, just true fans of this, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are.
They're there at every show.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Like there's some parents and all around as well.
Yeah.
Parents of wrestlers.
You know, a lot of our TV taping shows were just the wrestlers were the crowd.
Gosh, Dave, I really want to know what it feels like bumping in these flexi steel rings. I really just watching that mat.
I'll make you a deal, Crusher.
But I don't know. I don't want to. We're too old for this stuff, Dave. We can't do this anymore.
I'll make you a deal. If I win the lottery here in America, I'll buy a flexi steel ring when I get my house built.
This is the bird. This is like a
We won't go through a full match. We'll just bump a little bit.
That's one of his best moves.
Well, he's like, it looked like he went for a crossbody, but didn't
Yeah.
work. You got to work through those blunders, and he did. Yep.
I'm assuming you can't hear my commentary through this on the leg part now.
I'm sorry. What was that, Keaton?
I'm assuming you can't hear my commentary through this.
A little bit. I mean, we have it lower so we can hear us talk right now, so we kind of
Yeah,
purposely do that. But yeah.
yeah.
But if you guys go to Keaton's channel, you can watch this match and a bunch of other ones. He constantly is posting things like this.
Yeah, all the NXT stuff, and then of course my training videos as well.
This is very current style. Them just watching all these very quick, exchanges with each other, and very, very good stuff. If you see my eyes going in that, that's where the screen is right, so I can watch it. That's why I
Yeah.
went off the screen. So the Canary Kid gets the push.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the first time the Canary Kid's actually ever won John McCall. Normally John McCall would be the winner.
Yeah, so that's what you were telling me. These two that they've had really good matches in the past, right?
Yeah, all amazing matches. Probably the best NXT matches ever they've had. Some of the NXT best.
Look at this.
See, at the Lions Den and stuff, that wouldn't really be the only shows we have. We would sometimes do bigger shows at Malone Rugby Club with more than 250 people and stuff.
Hang on a second. I'm going to put this up so we can hear this a little bit better. This is all the celebrities that Keaton's been in touch with that we had on video that he provided us. Dudley Boys, Dave.
Get the tables!
Won't testify!
And the glasses and everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Boys and girls, it's the one and only Adam Cole, baby, and you're watching Wrestling Revolution with Keaton.
Hey, this is Carlito, and you're watching Wrestling Revolution with Keaton. And that's cool.
This is Edge, the Rated R Superstar, and you're watching Wrestling Revolution with Keaton. I think I said that right. I hope so, Keaton. Please don't hurt me if I didn't. Yeah.
What a nice guy he is. All right, so there we go. Little highlights and everything. Nathan, can you hear us okay? Because I don't know if he can hear us because we haven't heard him at all. So his audio might not be working on this connection.
Yeah, I don't think Nathan can hear us either.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is if his audio is not working, it's in the settings. He has to change his audio settings in in that little gear thing. There's a gear adjustment, and he's got to change his settings.
Yeah.
And then we can hear him, because right now we can't hear him, and I don't think he can hear us, maybe. Yeah, lots of... So, guys, if you have any comments for Keaton, please, send us some questions.
Gizmo, we know you're good about questions.
Let me just make sure. I'm going to look at my own questions here. So, Keaton... What's your goal then? Like, where do you see yourself in all of this as you start your training?
I don't really want to go to American wrestling. I don't really want to get into WWE. I want to continue with NIPW, Nathan's promotion, and make it bigger instead of me going to a bigger company and make NIPW bigger. Maybe make it one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world. Sure.
Yeah. So and not only that, Dave, but getting into the WWE. It's like the NFL, it's not an easy thing, right? So, and I'm not saying you couldn't make it. Look, you put your mind to something, you can do anything, right? Yeah. But
exactly.
But I think that's cool to have
Keaton,
that.
I'm going to give you
stick with the local. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm going to give you some advice that I give to my own kids.
Mm-hmm.
The only limitations that you have is what you limit yourself to. Right. Dream as big as you want and follow those dreams.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah, because you're really the only person that's just to follow up on that with Dave. The only person that can get in the way of you accomplishing what you want to do is yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what I mean by that is when you start doubting yourself, when that happens, when you start second guessing things, that's the enemy within. And you just need to look past that and overlook, look beyond that and kind of get that tunnel vision for them moments so that you can see past all that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and not worry about those distractions, right? And that's what they are. They're just distractions. And anybody that tells you anything, like if somebody tells you, "Hey, you can't do this," take that as a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Like,
Right, and see what you can, prove them wrong. I love doing, with the NWF, Dave. That was my favorite thing. When somebody said no, I figured a way to get around it. Figured another way to do it.
that drives you more.
Exactly.
What's that?
Well, it's
It drives you more. You know to keep going, doesn't it? When people are telling you can't do it, doesn't it?
it's kind of like with me, Keaton. Years ago when we had an open forum in our old Facebook group, we had a Hall of Fame vote, and I never expected to get into it. But as I remember, there was one wrestler who said that I'd never make it into the Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you, Crusher, later who it was.
I can only guess.
Yeah.
SS.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a couple. There's been a few of our guys that have been in the league that feel that we should just decide who comes in our Hall of Fame. But, Keaton, if you knew me, you'd know, and Dave knows this. I'm not about to do that. I want the people that watch us now, our fans on YouTube, I want them to decide. That's how all of our Hall of Fames have gone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It should be a fan thing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when we had our last Hall of Fame vote, not the one that we just had in 2024, but the one prior to that, and this guy was telling me I'd never get in. I kind of took it as a challenge. If that Hall of Fame opens up again, I'm going to smash what he said.
But this is the last Hall of Fame, not only because they're a lot of work, but because there ain't going to be any more. Look, we were only around for about 4 to 5 years. We cannot keep having Hall of Fames every single year. So four of them's enough. But yeah, Dave made it, and that's good.
Yeah.
And the other guy's still sitting. The guy that told me I'd never make it is still sitting outside looking in at the Hall of Fame.
Just think, if you keep doing this and you keep going with Northern Ireland professional wrestling, and there might be another 30 or 40 years, and you're going to be doing the same thing we're doing. Just looking back at everything you accomplished with it,
Yeah.
And thinking back about things, I know you're in Northern Ireland. There's WWE superstars, former WWE Universal Champion who came from Ireland. You realize that, right?
Yeah, Vic Finlay, people like that, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking Universal Champion.
Oh, Universal Champion?
Came from Ireland.
Oh,
what?
Balor?
Yep. I know Ireland's not a huge area, but
well, and look at this.
You never know where you'll end up 10, 20 years from now.
But Dave, you know what though? They're not far from the UK. Wouldn't that be cool if someday with the UK kids training and these kids training that they could have a summit somehow and they have like a kind of a meetup and have matches? Wouldn't that be? So there's the promoter Crusher Cross and talking out loud again. That's what I would like to see happen, right?
Yeah, well, that sounds good. Like here, by the way, Nathan apologizes. His 4D could be the problem on his tablet at the Lions Den gym.
Yeah, I kind of figured he was having connection issues. I mean, he was trying to get in with us, but he just wasn't able to get in.
Yeah.
I had some questions for him, but if he can't get in, that's what it is. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, let's make sure we got everything. I want to make sure we covered all our questions. So, Keaton, who's your biggest? I guess we all have idols as wrestlers. They're our guy. Like for me, it was Hogan way back when he was genuine before he became too big.
Yeah.
Dave had his. Who's your favorite? Who's the one that you look up to in wrestling?
Well, obviously NWF were a big inspiration, but my favorite American wrestler or someone who look up to the most is maybe Fit Finlay, big Damo and Tucker and them kind of guys who made it to WWE and stuff, and then some of the people who are and just all the NIPW wrestlers and all that are coming in as well, just to be like lemons. So yeah, probably all them guys.
Sure. So you like to kind of that hometown pride, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
like seeing those guys making it because they made it big when they came from where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Certainly relate to that. So Keaton, what is it? So you, I get from what I understand, you can't have a match until you're 15 in this league, right? That you're in.
You can't. We've had kind of a match before, but it wasn't. But we're both wrestling with the adult wrestlers. Everyone done like their shirt and display, but it was a tag team match, and we're wrestling with the Canary Kid and John McCann, who are obviously a bit older. So yeah, we can't do it until we're 15.
So, are you looking forward to that time when you're 15, when you can actually go in and have a match? Is that like a kind of like your goal right now, your immediate goal?
Yeah, well, you know what? Because like I don't want to have a match too soon. I know I'm like good in the ring, but I want to be like amazing, like John McCann or Canary Kid still before I get into a match. And then when I get into a match, the crowd will be even more, and the fans will I'll be even better at that point. So I want to do a match when I'm ready. So yeah, I will be excited for when I'm 15 for doing a match.
Sure. And is part of your training gonna ever go over into doing promos and stuff?
Yeah, well, I've done one promo before. I had a character called the Kid of Rock where I was a heel, and I was doing a few spots with the Canary Kid in one of my displays, and I brought a message to him in one of my promos. Yeah, I think it might be on that.
Sure. And Dave, you're gonna say something?
You know, even when you first get in the ring, even if some of the people, you know, say you're nervous and you bumble a couple spots or something, don't worry about it. It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Just keep pushing forward with your dream. I mean, as far as being technically sound, I wasn't the greatest guy in the ring.
Yeah.
You can earn that. You can learn that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I went back to before. You know, having the right attitude is so key because, and your coach would know this. He knows what I'm saying. If you have the right head on your shoulders and you're in it to win it, and you're just, I mean, I don't mean when I say in it to win it, I don't mean win every match. I mean win it as in being the best you can be in the business, and that doesn't mean win-loss record. That means selling, right? Ultimately, you know, here's the thing. And I learned this from Steve Engstrom when he came into our show. I learned from him, and he's an adult that came in that really shouldn't have been. But what I learned from him though was Pretty Boy Taylor. But what I learned from him and Mr. X is you sell your butt off in the match. You sell, and it makes the match, and that's what I picked up from him. And then when we were both selling for each other, it becomes memorable matches. That's what you want to like. You know, I got that NWF World title back there, right? The blue one. I had it 5 times. Now I remember winning it 5 times, but
also lost it 5 times.
I lost it 5 times, and my memories of losing it were almost as good, if not better, than when I won it because I remember each guy I put over to do it, and how that happened. I sold it. I sold it in the ring, whatever the case may be. Selling's everything, right, Dave?
Exactly. I mean, being honest, Keaton, my win-loss record in the NWF wasn't the greatest. You actually go through and look at all the footage. I lost a lot more matches than I won.
Yeah, but the fans still wanted you to be putting it up in the NWF Hall of Fame. So yeah, I know what you mean. Like
now that's the thing.
If you can sell good, you can wrestle.
I was having fun in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Hey, Sky Sports Video News has a question for you, Keaton. He says he's curious. Are you a Conor McGregor fan?
No, I'm not the biggest Conor McGregor fan, no.
Yeah, no. He's he's a little bit controversial, I guess, right?
Yeah, the things he said about WWE wrestlers and stuff, and then
sure
on Twitter and all, it's a bit. I don't like him.
Gizmo wants to know, what do you think of backyard wrestling in the United States? And I'm sure he's referring to like that '90s craze of it, you know, that we had so much of it.
I don't like it. I think that when it was the Hardy Boys, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Mick Foley, they were absolute extreme legends, and then people like other wrestlers tried to replace them and to do extreme backyard wrestling. It never worked out. It never works out for any more wrestlers from the ECW days. It just never works out. Backyard wrestling is literally one of those field wrestling things that you could ever see. I just don't like it.
I agree. I'm not a. However, I will say this: the backyard feds, they all weren't light bulbs and they all weren't thumbtacks. There were some organizations in that era that were trying to do more like what we did, but they got late. They got sucked up by all the garbage that was in there, right? And you just never really hear much of them kind of groups. But self and unfortunately, backyard wrestling gives a real black eye to self teaching and wrestling, and self taught, Dave, is not unusual. Jerry the King Lawler, self taught, was never trained. When he first came in. Bobby Eaton, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Bobby the Brain Heenan, probably one of the best workers. He was a manager, but he could work. You ask anybody of the old timers, they'll say he was the legend as a worker, never trained. He was self-taught. He just knew he could do it.
Yeah, Bubba Ray Dudley as well. He said he was self-taught.
Yep. I just, that's the ones I could think of. But yeah, so
Jeff Hardy,
right?
Now throwing it more to Keaton's generation.
A lot of these guys did get some training too, though, later on, but they started out without any training and had their first pro match without any training. So my point is, that's not a bad thing, but unfortunately, backyard wrestling in the 90s just killed it. It just labeled everything horribly for that. Because because those backyarders were doing it was all about, they were so influenced by the ECW and the hardcore matches and everything, and they tried to be the the next Mick, like you said, Keaton, the next Mick Foley or the next Hardy Boys.
No one can replace them.
Yeah, and it's and then what happens is they hurt each other, and then it makes the news. Oh, these kids did these wrestling moves, and somebody's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. See how it just spirals out of control?
A lot of people thought that a lot of people thought you guys were doing it, but I know that backyard wrestling wasn't invented at that point. But a lot of the kid wrestlers and all sorts of wrestlers put a bad mark on wrestling at that point.
Oh yeah, it has.
Because they didn't know how to blade properly. They didn't know how to do a table spot properly, and wanted to be the next Mick Foley, or they wanted to do the next ECW stuff. But you need to know how to do that properly before you do it, obviously.
Right, and we
exactly.
When I wrote my book and documentary 20 years ago, I was constantly defending against backyard wrestling. The only reason I did it at the time is because I thought I seen those backyard DVDs and I thought I'm going to show them what was done before this. That was a lot better than what they're doing. But then unfortunately, when I came out with that, people thought it was current and they're like, well, this is backyard wrestling again. No, it's not. And like Coach Nathan was saying too, it even infiltrates into the indie leagues today, right? Sometimes they throw them in that camp. People that don't understand, that are not realizing what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, look, winter wrestling family gives me a sense of belonging. We all look out for each other. I love getting a chance, going to shows.
Oh yeah.
With all of the wrestling buddies and stuff like.
It's like the brotherhood. Dave, is there a comment?
Yep, I'm going to let you read it on the screen.
Keaton, do you have a secondary school wrestling team? Do you plan to join when you are old enough? He's talking about normal high school wrestling, kind of.
I would be the biggest fan of Olympic wrestling. I don't want to offend anyone here, but I just think it's rather boring. But
I hear you.
But the high school I'm in, years ago they used to do wrestling. But one of the teachers would tell me, but unfortunately now they don't do it no more.
Yeah, the school wrestling can be a little. It can be a little. I don't know. It's a different kind of wrestling. It's more competitive. You know where I always said the competition wasn't. There is competition in pro wrestling. You know where it is. It's trying to one up each other, looking the best in the ring. And when I say looking the best, selling the best, right? Yep. That's where the competition is. Trying to really stand out to the promotion that you can sell. And everybody tries to do that. That's
because if you can sell good, you're a valuable commodity for the wrestling community.
Right. And Dave, when you can sell good, that spreads like wildfire. Like everybody here knows. Next thing you know, everybody wants to match with you because they want to have a good match, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There's an old wrestler who actually told me, if you tell your opponent, I'll make you look good, and then you make me look good, and then and that's what puts on a brilliant match. It always works.
You know, our hardest, here's the thing, Keaton, I'm curious. I don't know if you probably don't know this, maybe you do. But as people come in like the Canary Kid that are fairly young and new, is there any do they struggle with, do they understand the philosophy of wrestling as far as putting somebody over? They realize that it's part of a bigger picture. Like they
Yeah,
might be putting somebody over today, but there's a reason type of thing.
yeah, the would, because like even with John McCann and the Canary Kid, when they had their match, John McCann was the first ever NXT recruit, and the Canary Kid understood that John McCann had to win after how long it took him to get through the journey, and the Canary Kid knew he'd won it one day, and then last month it all paid off. He won the championship, so yeah, I think they would understand we're putting over as well.
So, Keaton, this is a very interesting comment from Sky Sports Video News, and this is what I was telling you the other day on our private conversation. Most young athletes that wrestle don't have half the knowledge that you are showing in this interview. You would make a great announcer as well, is what he's saying. And I told you that. And listen to your match commentating on the matches on your channel. I picked up on that immediately. You'd be one of, like, if you were in the NWF, Keaton, you'd be one of the guys that'd say, you know, you can still wrestle, but I need you on the mic. You don't mind doing some play-by-play here when you're not having the matches? And yeah, because that's what we do. We'd pick out guys that could do that.
He'd be our Jason Clausen.
Yeah, or Chris Barger or Brian Ballamon. You need, because not every kid could do it. You get some kids on there and they didn't know how to call a match. So you have to get the right people. Yeah.
Jim Ross as well.
What's that?
Jim Ross as well.
Oh yeah, like Jim Ross. Yep, all those legends like that. Yeah. So I wish Coach Nathan was here. I was going to ask him, like, you know, do they have, maybe he has plans to, because here's the thing, Arnie, in the UK, they're wrestling matches right away. In slam wrestling over there. And I'm curious, maybe Coach Nathan would look at bringing the age bracket down a little bit just for some junior matches, you know, like just for openers, you know?
Yeah, so he has done something like that, the tag team match, obviously, but I think mostly he'd want to wait till we're a bit older, just so we're like, we know what we're doing and stuff.
Right. It's all going to be based on what your abilities are at.
Yeah.
Right. So it's where you're at in training. And I'm sure that's something that he'll make a call on if he sees that it could happen, right? It's all, you know, and I notice he's always there watching, so I'm sure he's keeping an eye on all of it, you know, so.
And if I was wrestling one of the kid wrestlers, I'd be one of the taller ones, so it'd be quite hard for me to get in the ring and make it look good, because it would be hard to reach for them. So I don't think right now he'd be doing matches. Right.
Yeah, but, you know, then again, you know, maybe there'll be other kids that come along that join in that are more your size too.
Yeah.
Or, you know, what you do in that situation, this is what we do in the NWF. If you're bigger, okay, we're going to have you have a handicap match with the two littler guys. So then it makes sense, right? Yeah, there's ways to do it, right? Well, look at this. Let me give you this. Lightning Kid, Sean Waltman, 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Yeah.
Went against Razor Ramon. Talk about a size difference.
I know that's X-Pac, isn't it?
X-Pac, yeah, that's how he broke in, right? That's how he made a name for himself, going against Scott Hall, and Scott Hall put him over as well.
I know. He was probably a jobber at that point as well, and like even a lot of like the smaller wrestlers didn't get a chance to show their ability, like Hornswoggle and stuff.
Yeah. What was that, Dave?
Well, no, I was going to say with Waltman, he just kind of. He sent WWE videotape. They liked him, hired him, and I believe it was Scott Hall saw how well he worked.
Yeah, Scott agreed to do it.
Videotape. Right? And Scott said, "Hey, let me put this kid over. Let's get him going."
Yeah, it was Scott's idea. I remember reading that.
Yeah, and that would be a great idea. Handicap match as well. Hopefully Nathan's watching. You give him a good idea.
That's what I would do. Again, promoter Crusher Cross and coming out here, and I probably shouldn't be saying these things because I don't run the Northern Ireland professional wrestling. But that's what if you were in the NWF, that's what I would do with you. I would say, okay, if you're bigger and we don't have somebody that matches up, or I would work a match just to make it What I usually do with the bigger, I did it myself. I'd go against the lightweights and I would put them over, not so much in the win-loss, but I'd put them over in the match. I'd make it look like they're going to beat me and look like they're like, this little guy's beating the bigger guy. What's going on here? And then make it look like they come close, right? That's to just bring them up, right? To bring them up to a better level.
No, exactly.
And getting back to our conversation, Keaton, about X-Pac, do you realize one of X-Pac's first opponents ever was one of our alumni?
It was one of our NWF guys.
Really? Who was it?
Slick Steenerson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when Sean Waltman came into the PWA, Troy and I were there working at the time for Eddie and having matches. And so the cards I couldn't make, Waltman would be in there for me. So we'd like alternate. And he happened to be up. So he went against Troy. And it's an interesting story because Sean Waltman was brand new. He was just a young kid at the time, 17, I think.
Yeah.
And Troy, so Eddie said, Troy, I'm going to have you put him over. And Troy had been working his character all this time. He's PWA middleweight champion and stuff. And like, no, he goes, that's bullshit, Eddie. The kid just came in. I'm not going to put him over. So Troy stuck up for himself with Eddie. And Eddie, okay, fine. Then we'll do it no DQ on it. We'll just throw him over the top rope or something. He still had him win, but he didn't have him get pinned. That's what Troy was trying to get away from.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. And Troy did that night, which is good for him. Because Troy's usually the kind of guy that'll do what he's told.
That's some good.
And to think, Sean,
What would be the big
Crusher, if Troy would have said yes, we could honestly have said that X-Pac had wrestled in the NWF ring.
It's true. That's true. What were you going to say, Keaton?
So what advice would you've given some really good advice, but what would be the biggest piece of advice you would give a young 12-year-old wrestler only starting out in the business?
Why don't you go first, Dave, and then I'll chime in.
What was that?
He wants to know what advice we would give him as a young 12-year-old kid just getting into the business. What's the advice?
Live a healthy lifestyle and follow your heart. As long as your heart's leading you down this path, keep following. Don't let anybody steer you away.
Yeah. And
my advice for you, Keaton, is the way I look at things like this. Kind of like what Dave says, follow that inner voice inside you that what your true goals are of all of this, and never lose sight of those goals. And like I told Arnie, if somebody asks, what's your goal in wrestling? Well, my goal is to be world champion. And I want to be the best I can be. And like I said, I don't mean win-loss record. I mean the best you can be. And enjoy it. If you're not enjoying this, it's not worth it. You have to really, truly enjoy it.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because there was a point, like with Crusher Crossan, he hit a point where he had to step away because he was fried with the business.
Yeah.
I had to step away for my own reasons.
Yep. Sometimes you have to take a break, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But always remember that you're in control of your own destiny. So you're ultimately the one that will make or break yourself. And you just have to. And then here's my other advice: when people start telling you what to do or giving their opinions on you, it's okay to listen to it, but don't let it dictate how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If, say 5 years down the road, somebody comes to you and says, pardon the way I'm wording this, but comes to you and it's a terminology here in the U.S. with wrestling. If somebody comes to you and says you're the drizzling shits, like, okay, thanks for your opinion.
Yeah.
And don't let it hold you back, because I've been told I was a drizzling shit.
Yeah.
But you know what? I kept going until I finally had the point where I decided it's time for me to step away.
But that comes back to where we say, though, you got to find your style. When you do find your style, because maybe your style might not be doing a moonsault. right?
Yeah.
You got to find what your style is in this, and then when you do, you'll know when you have it, and then you go after it and you be the best you can be at that style of a wrestler, the best. That's the advice, really.
There's people that will say Ric Flair isn't one of the greatest wrestlers of all time because he had the same match every day.
Yeah.
Well, you may not like seeing that same match, but that was his style, and that's what got him over.
Even when we're talking about selling, Ric Flair sold so good in the ring, like.
Yeah, Flair would put anybody over. He just, Here's a comment from Gizmo. Keaton, thank you for coming on the show today. It's an honor to have such young talent like yourself on the show. You are showing that kids in Ireland have the heart of a champion like yourself, and like that logo I see, Lion's Den Pro Wrestling Dojo. It's very fitting that that's a lion there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So and I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same way that Gizmo just said there, that they're joining in and watching us here. This is earlier than usual, guys. So Keith, we're probably gonna have to cut her off here now, and we have to get ready. Dave's got to try to make it on tonight, although we don't know if he will for our show later today because he had a long week. It might just be Crusher Cross tonight. But guys, I want to show you what we're gonna do tonight.
Right. Thanks very much for having me.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, Keaton.
Yeah. See you later.
Yep. This is what we're going to do later tonight, guys. We're going back to the dry dock. We haven't done a dry dock show in a long time, so you're going to see where the NWF evolved to, really. This is the kind of the end of the NWF for us. And it's a dry dock show, and that'll be later tonight at our normal time. This interview went a little, about an hour or so, so you'll see this interview first, and then we'll be pretty much live at 7 p.m. We'll time it that way. So that's what we're going to do later today. So come back and watch us live again. I love that expression on Outlaw Dion's face there, Dave. That still that we just had on the screen. I tell you something, Dion was he was really good at his character. Really was.
And what I'm going to say right now is if I do not make it back on later tonight, I do apologize, but like Crusher said, it's been a really long week for me. And as it sits right now, I've been going since about 7 o'clock last night.
Right. I don't know. I could try to scramble and see if I can find somebody to come on with me, but we'll see. I know it's a dry dock show, so maybe Jeff Dinsmore might be interested if he's available. I'll have to see. But
you might want to hit him up and just have him on standby just in case.
Yeah. It's I tell you though, it's different being on right now at this time, Dave. I mean, we're normally not on.
And I'm shocked in a way, but I'm very proud that people like Sky Sports and Gizmo.
Yeah. I was hoping there'd be some people there to ask Keaton questions because I wasn't sure what we were going to get from our regulars.
I'm very thankful for them being here today in the middle of the day, and you are guaranteed Crusher Crossing later tonight. But I'm not going to guarantee on Dixie Dave tonight.
And again, Dave, I just want to remind everybody we didn't go live last week, so we couldn't celebrate this. But May 9th, 1986, a day that will live forever in all of the hearts of us NWFers. Very first NWF card. And if you notice on this picture, guys, take a look at the person that, if you see the left ring post and you come over, you'll see a kid at the very end of the first row there sitting proudly in the front row, and that is none other than Dixie Dave in the audience right there.
The day before I joined the company.
Again, left ring post. On the bottom of the ring post, just go straight to the left, and you'll see a kid sitting right on the end there in the first row. It looks like second row, but it's actually the first row, the way the angle of the camera. But that's Dixie Dave, everybody. Back in the day.
Prior to joining the day before I joined the company.
And just look at this, guys. Minneapolis Star-Tribune putting us in the paper, both for the Spectator Sports and the match results. They estimated 500 people. And it wasn't 500. It was more around 350. But yeah, I mean...
Hey, What is wrestling attendance? It's overhyping your actual numbers. WWE does it every year at WrestleMania.
Yep. So yeah, but yeah, so like, we'll be back on again tonight, 7 p.m. live for the show for the normal watch long. And by the way, guys, this show tonight, remember we talked about this nasty scar that I got right here, and the time that the juicing went awry. That's the show. That's the match where that happened. So we'll see that.
I'm going to say right now, if you don't see me tonight, I will see you in 2 weeks. I promise.
Yep, and in 2 weeks. And speaking of which, in 2 weeks, let's see if I got that. I do. We have another guest coming in with us, Rich Oxley and Jason Ewert. Who are these guys? They're video aficionado gurus. Oops, my thing went away. Hang on here. And these guys are, when I got my degree in video production back in 2016, that's my Why does that keep going away?
I'm not touching a thing here, Crusher.
Anyways, it keeps bugging me. But anyways, Rich Oxley and Jason Ewert was the CLA, and they're good friends of mine to this day, and they're also big wrestling fans. And so we're going to get there. And guess what? Rich Oxley, he knew Scott Tronson. So they went to college together. So that should be a very interesting conversation we have with Rich Oxley on that. Got a couple comments here I see. Before we sign off here tonight, since we're not probably going to have Dave tonight, we'll take these comments here. It's Gizmo says, how about the new Hall of Famer Terry? He's talking about Terry Kosnopple, if Terry's still with us. Yeah, Terry Kosnopple in the NWF Hall of Fame along with Dixie Dave. And Sky Sports Video News says, I agree, Terry is a great commentator. Love him on the show. Yep.
And I don't know if you noticed something, Crusher, but when I pulled the plaque out for Keaton earlier...
Oh, I didn't even see you pull it out.
I showed it to him earlier.
Oh, well, I must have been trying to get emails and stuff going.
If you notice something, it was the first time the plastic had been off.
Yeah.
They're on their way.
All right. So I suppose we're about ready to sign off for now, but we will be back again, everybody, at our normal time tonight. If not, I'll be back on for sure. So.
All right. Worst case scenario, I will see everybody in 2 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you shortly, everybody, at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific later today.
All righty. Have a good one, folks.